full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Open the pod bay doors, Cal.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
I am nothing! No one!
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Get busy, Larry. You get busy, die.
Hey, my name's Michael, and welcome to Cinemaze, a podcast where a bunch of mates chat about cinema over some drinks. And today I'm joined by my friends and previous guests of the show, Spencer and Pat. Thank you for coming on yet again. How are you actually going?
Yes, if it is to be said, so it be so it is.
Spencer Faye, free man, how you going?
So good to have you both on. In this episode, we're going to be breaking down one of the hottest TV shows on the planet.
The hottest.
Absolutely. Succession, discussing the wild ride that was season 3. And today, I don't know about you guys, but I'll be drinking a Bolter. What are you guys drinking?
Yeah, Bolter XPA.
Bolter XPA, it's the drink of the summer.
Yes, sir. So, of course, Patrick and Spencer have already been on the podcast on previous episodes. And we do like to do a bit of a guest question game to see what they like to watch, whether it's TV shows and movies. So we're going to change it up a little bit. We got some different questions. First question, and I'll start with you, Pat. Steven Spielberg or Quentin Tarantino?
I thought this was a no-brainer for me, to be honest. You can't really go past good old Quentin. Despite his weird foot fetish. Inglorious Bastards, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Unpopular opinion, but Django all tick the boxes. So definitely Quentin in my view.
Absolutely, Spencer.
Yeah, look, I can't look past Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, but in all seriousness, Quentin has not made a bad film yet. I don't care what you say about The Hateful Eight, but that is a great film also.
It is a great film, and I'm keen to see what his last one will be before he retires.
Oh, he's not retiring, man. He can't.
I hope he doesn't. It'll be a very sad day. But anyway, we digress. Next question. Emma Stone, Patrick, or Emma Watson?
Well, as we discussed in my last Cinemates appearance, many of the listeners will be happy to know that Harry Potter has been watched. So everyone can get off my back.
Congratulations, man.
The Chamber of Secrets is open.
That's right. So therefore, got to go with Emma Watson here.
Yep. And Spencer?
Look, I would be with Pat. However, La La Land's one of my favourite movies of the last 10 years.
Wow.
So, and also I'm a big fan of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, which not a lot of people. So
she's my MJ.
She is my MJ, and
Gwen.
Emma Stone wins this one for me.
Oh, man, I miss Gwen. Great answers there. Next question, and this will be very much a taste of what is to come in this episode. Succession or Euphoria?
Succession.
Oh God, you've really
put you to the sword, haven't I?
You have. Obviously, Euphoria season 2 being out at the moment, and on the emotional roller coaster that is season 2 Euphoria for me. I've got to stick with Euphoria here. It's
wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's going to be tough to say. Needless to say, I love Succession.
You just put your microphone down and you can leave.
And you walk out.
For me, it's definitely Succession. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're both, I reckon, 2 of the greatest shows that are currently on air.
Yeah,
on planet Earth, both coming from HBO. But yeah, it's a very tough question there, and I'm really sorry about that. The next question, and you guys have answered these before, but let's see if you've got any other tricks up your sleeves. Patrick, most memorable movie that you've seen in cinemas?
Mate, I'm going to stick to the same answer I gave in my first appearance in Cinemates again. Black Panther for me. Incredible film. Chadwick, God rest his soul. He was an absolute delight to watch on screen in that film. So, yeah, definitely Black Panther.
Yeah, great answer, Spencer.
Interesting. I'm going to give us a different answer. More recently, seeing Spider-Man No Way Home in the cinemas might have
shout.
possibly topped Interstellar and Endgame for me.
Wow.
I think the reaction in the cinema was like I was at a footy game or something. That's crazy.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you there. Spider-Man No Way Home was a special movie in cinemas. Definitely one of the best cinematic experiences I've had. And as I said in the last episode, people in my cinema were literally saying like, let's go, like before the movie had even started.
It was just,
it was amazing. So good answer there.
Yep.
Next question. Fastest TV show binge. I'm sure you might have been binging a bit since the last appearances, boys.
Yeah, look, for me, it's got to be Sex Ed still, or I reckon Yellowstone's in the conversation as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Spencer?
Yeah, for me, it's still Dark. I've never binged anything so fast than Dark on Netflix.
Absolutely. And just to follow up on Spencer's elevator pitch, if you have not seen Dark, please watch it. It is sitting there on Netflix waiting to be watched, and your mind is waiting to be blown. So please binge it and you'll see what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Next question. A movie that you think everyone needs to see?
For me, it's got to be either Whiplash or Moonlight as of late. I think they were two incredibly eye-opening films. Great to watch, and also just cast as well. Brilliant. So, yeah, they're two for me.
Yep.
Nice picks.
For me, it was one that I rewatched recently. There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis. Hadn't watched it in a while, rewatched it the other night, was kind of just like picking it apart. And I just think the way he acts in that movie is ridiculous. Like, he's unbelievable. Just that whole, it's not really like the most interesting story, but you're just watching him the whole time.
Yeah, literally. It's definitely one of those movies where the performance is crucial to it and makes it what it is. Great work from PTA as always. Next question, TV show that you're watching at the moment.
So obviously, despite, being absolutely enthralled by Euphoria at the moment, for me, I feel like HBO is living rent-free in my head right now, but I'm rewatching The Sopranos. And James Gandolfini, his acting in that TV show is just absolutely flawless, and the cast as well just works off him so well. So rip.
Very good. I just finished Peacemaker the other night. Really good. If you like the Suicide Squad, you'll definitely like Peacemaker. Just James Gunn taking the helm of another superhero franchise.
Absolutely. I was a big fan of the Suicide Squad and loved Peacemaker in that. Thought he was a really interesting character.
Yep.
And I don't know what it was, but I tried to start this Peacemaker series. I think I was hungover, and I reckon I watched like 5 minutes of it and just fell asleep. So I need to go back and try it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've heard it's really good. I've heard good things.
And John Cena surprising with the acting chops.
Wow.
Yeah.
John Cena.
He's really coming
what a
up.
thespian.
Like, he's already, for me, jumped over the Rock in terms of.
You reckon?
Yeah, just in terms of, like, I don't think I could watch a TV show with the Rock in it.
Yeah. I feel like John Cena has a lot of like genuine like comedic talent.
Yep.
And it's great. Like, you see him on like live TV, like doing interviews and stuff. He's actually so funny.
He is.
So yeah, I should rewatch that, and so should the listeners. Last episode, we got the elevator pitch from Cinemates community member Tom. He was recommending The Last Duel, and can I just say, it was bloody good. The way the story is told from 3 different perspectives, as he said, is so unique. You got Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and Jodie Comer, and the subtle differences, between each character's perspectives is so interesting. Have you guys seen Last Duel?
No, I actually haven't.
Had to watch it in a few sittings. But yeah, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I can understand that. It is quite long and it does have a lot going on. But yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. And Jodie Comer is so good. She is phenomenal. Her performance is awesome and she kills it. The landscapes in it, kind of 14th century Paris, is so sick. The fight scenes, battles, they're like brutal and epic. And yeah, definitely go see this. And Tom, thank you for recommending it. It is safe to say that you have redeemed yourself and picked an absolute cracker after Burnt.
Oh my God.
That's all right. We'll forget about that, Tom.
That was the worst. That was the worst thing to happen to the culinary industry since Bourdain's death. Sorry, Dark.
But yeah, we can get past that for sure. But great elevator pitch, Tom. Last Duel. It's on Disney Plus, so go check it out. Definitely one to watch. So next episode, we'll be back with the Cinemates elevator pitch. And if you think you have some good recommendations for me and you have the courage to take me on, please send us a DM on Instagram at cinemaze_ and let me know what I should watch next. So getting into Succession finally, of course, from here on, there'll be some huge spoilers. So as always, to the listeners out there who haven't seen Succession or season 3 yet, boys, what would you say about the TV show? Not in one sentence, but one word. And if you go over one word, I'll kill you right now.
Oh God, it's tough. Hey, like one word. You had me thinking, Michael, keeping me up at night, looking at the roof. But I would sum up Succession in one word by just dynasty. That's how I'd sum it up.
Nice,
very good. Is benign fungus one word?
Nails out, bro. That's one word.
Yeah, I would describe it as a benign fungus.
Okay. I'm going to sum it up with one word, and that word is insane.
Yep.
You've heard 3 words, including benign fungus, listeners.
4 words.
What if your toenails are not that aesthetically pleasing?
Please go watch it if you haven't. It's one of the best shows out there, Succession. Let's get into it. Just a quick, summary and recap. There was definitely a lot going on this season. Logan steps down as CEO after Kendall's press conference. Jerry becomes interim CEO. Shiv is then named president of operations. Logan refuses the DOJ's investigation. Tom offers to take the fall and go to jail. Kendall sabotages Shiv's first speech. Shiv retaliates with an open letter and Kendall backs out of a late night comedy show before Waystar is raided by the FBI. Tom unravels as he fears actually going to prison. Logan suffers a urinary tract infection during the Waystar annual shareholder meeting. Shiv makes a deal with Sandy without Logan's approval. Logan then cuts off contact with Kendall. Kendall's testimony about the cruise scandal evidence goes poorly. The Roys then pick a new presidential candidate at Future Freedom Summit. The DOJ investigation weakens and Tom avoids prison. Logan tries acquiring streaming giant Gojo. Kendall hosts his 40th birthday and is given an offer to sell his shares before having a breakdown. The Roys go to Tuscany for Caroline's wedding. Kendall wants to permanently uncouple from Logan. Shiv tells Tom she doesn't love him. Robin sends a dick pic to Logan instead of Jerry. Gojo attempts to acquire Waystar and Logan decides to sell the company. Kendall breaks down. Tom cryptically offers Greg a chance to ascend within the company. Logan informs the kids that he and Caroline renegotiated the divorce agreement and deprived the kids of any control. And finally, Tom is revealed to have tipped off Logan about the kids' revolt. Season 3. What did you guys think of the season?
The Tom father. The Tom father. It was his season, man. He's the MVP.
I completely agree. Pat, what did you think of the season?
The rise of Thomas Wamsgans. Wow.
Oh.
But yeah, no, obviously season 3 was an absolute roller coaster. I thought that it really summed up, a lot of the kind of, the arcs of a lot of the characters kind of came into play. So it was great to see, some, for dramatic effect, I suppose, a lot of big results coming out of season 3.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as always, the acting, editing, cinematography, writing was all insane this season. I thought it was a great season. As you said, great character arcs. I feel like the characters really, stepped up a level this season, and the finale was awesome. I think that, the whole season built up right to the exact last 10 minutes of the finale. Yeah. Could not agree more. Tom was awesome, was a huge standout for me. Kendall as well. I think Matthew McFadden and Jeremy Strong, who play those two characters, were so good and should win Emmys, I think.
Yeah.
If Euphoria doesn't steal them all.
Which they will.
And it was phenomenal. I reckon my favorite episode of the season was either the shareholder meeting where Logan has the UTI or Kendall's birthday. They were so good.
Yeah, so the one for me that's really stood out recently, I think if you go back to the start of the season, where it just begins with the rush, the aftermath of what Kendall just did.
Yeah.
And for the subsequent 3-4 episodes, Kendall's basically just trying to distract himself from real life.
Literally.
And he's got all these people around him that are just telling him how good he is, leaving out all the crap that, for instance,
good tweet, bad tweet.
Yeah, good tweet, bad tweet.
The PRs.
Cousin Greg taking his cultural readings via Twitter. And it really comes to fruition in season 3 when he goes to that kind of TMZ comedy show and really just starts to, he goes and hides in that server room and sits there, watches the broadcast. Shiv sends a letter saying we hope our brother gets well soon, and he just all starts realizing it. Just as he's at his lowest there, that's when the FBI come and raid the office, and then once again, the spotlight is off Kendall.
Yeah. I feel like it's always about optics, right? They always say, how are the optics? How are the optics? No matter what the ecosystem of Waystar Royco is, it almost felt like in season 3, it was a Julius Caesar death scene in ancient Rome. Julius had his Brutus, Logan had Jerry. No one certainly could be trusted, I guess, as the scales were constantly being shifted. It was a real tug of war kind of season. So, whether if it was an FBI raid or a drug addict's son kind of conducting a hostile takeover, it was always something happening. So it was an absolute ride watching that season.
For sure. And I guess having kind of mentioned it, who do you reckon was your favorite character or characters of the season, guys?
If anyone doesn't say Tom, I'm going to commit mass murder in this room right now, I think.
Yeah, so for me, definitely Tom takes the cake. Certainly in the finale, but I think up to the point where Logan receives an item on his phone, I really think it was Roman's season, and
Romulus.
I think Logan really started to believe in Roman until that point. Roman was getting the Gojo deal done.
Yeah, literally.
And literally at the second last episode, you've got a dick pic going to the wrong person.
And
that is it.
Loses
That's the last straw. Shiv's fucked up, Kendall's fucked up, and now Roman's fucked up. What can you do?
That really set off that chain of events. Can we just talk about the writing of that episode? How awkward that was.
It was so
facial expressions.
The secondhand embarrassment I felt from that scene was literally could not handle it at all.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a good episode, and it just goes to show how the family dynamic is, where, as you said, it's all been building up. Roman's actually doing really well, despite him still being this disgusting human being. He's progressing up the ladder, and then, sends the dick pic to the wrong person, and he's lost all the trust from Logan, and he's back down to the bottom. So yeah, for me as well, I did have high hopes for, seeing where Roman was going to go. But I think that I was so torn from Tom, but also Little Lord Fauntleroy, Kendall. They were so good. I think just to touch on Tom, he was at the lowest of lows, always talking about prison.
Yeah.
He was going to take the fall for the whole family. He's this outsider. And then he gets dismissed and he goes into Greg's office and flips the place. And like Logan thinks he's trustworthy, and like, you know, he's the only one that's actually had to like properly work to get his way in and like, you know, progress. And he was like Shiv crushed him last season, and he was using Shiv to like get all the info out of her without her even knowing. And like she thought she was like winning him over. But like he also said no to joining Kendall. I thought that was a really cool scene in the diner where Kendall's trying to get Tom to join Kendall's side, and Tom, interesting, says like, you know, Logan has never been fucked once, but you've been fucked so many times. And he was about to go to jail still, and he still chooses Logan. So yeah, I thought that was a big point for him. I'm so glad that he finally won up to Shiv. That made me feel really good at the end. And
I think there's a lot to be said as well for that really slow build up of respect and trust from Tom. Like for Tom to be at a point now where he calls Logan Papa, and helps him through his UTI. I mean, there's a certain element of trust there now that's pretty well established. And like you said, like that diner scene was so powerful
for sure.
But I mean, like, you know, God, that dagger in the back rather, like, you know, at the end of the season, it made, you know, season 4 really worthwhile to look forward to. So I think there's a lot to come for Tom still. I think there's so much involved with some characters that haven't been really touched on in the show, but I suppose we can get to our weird conspiracy theories later. But there's certainly a lot to come, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. What did you guys think? Did you guys have like high hopes for Greg this season?
No, like not really. Like I think they've really, I think Jesse Armstrong and the writers really just know what Greg is and what Greg will be. And like obviously Tom promised him something towards the end of the season, but look, Greg is really just there for comedic relief. And in the episode where they have the shareholders meeting, you know, they're all like in that conference room just waiting.
Yeah.
While old mate Frank is just out there just talking for hours. And like Shiv like gets a piece of paper to send to Frank, and Shiv just goes, Greg? He's like, did someone say Greg? It's like no one needs him, no one speaks about him. But toward like when Tom grabs him once he knows like he's not going to jail.
Yeah.
And he like says like, do you know the story of Nero and Sporus? Did you guys think that was just like a random thing about like, I would just castrate you in a second?
I thought that was so random at the time. I was like, I thought it was just more of like Tom and Greg's like, you know, sort of homoerotic dynamic. I thought there was a bit of like flirting going on.
When I thought Nero and Sporus, and I looked into this after as well, I don't know if you boys want to touch on it later, but like when I thought Nero and Sporus, obviously like the origin of the story was Neros' wife was pregnant. So when he kicked her to death, I know it's a pretty dark story, but like there was a lot of baby talk this season. So obviously Shiv and Tom. When Logan goes and shakes Tom's hand at the end there, you see Shiv move her hand to like her womb.
Ooh,
so it's
I didn't
like,
see that.
Have not seen that.
It's literally like the most eye-opening like Reddit cave I've gone down in my life, and I like had a physical reaction to it as well. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and that's how I thought about it. And then obviously Neros went off with like, you know, and kind of lived his best life from there. So again, lots of symbolism to come from Tom, I reckon.
Well, yeah, he did. She was pregnant, but he also, and this is a quote from Tom, Nero pushed his wife down the stairs, and then he had Sporus castrated and married him instead. Gave him a ring and made him dress up like his dead wife. So,
would you kiss me, Greg?
I'd castrate you in a heartbeat.
And he said, I would. So he said that episode 6, and I don't think anyone really knew what he was talking about.
No,
but it really shows in the end there when he's like, will you be my attack dog? Like he's taking Greg with him. He's going to put Greg in a good position. So maybe next season, Greg is in a better spot.
He's Greg Weiler.
and Greg with Tom, he's going to get his own Greg.
Yeah.
You could have 10.
A Greg's as it were.
What did you guys think about Kendall though? That was obviously a big character arc.
Yeah, so we have ignored
the feast day resistance of the season.
Little Lord Farquhar.
I think Too Much Birthday might be one of his best bodies of work. Like that episode for me, when he gets pushed over at the birthday party.
Yeah.
And like he sets up like a burning office at his party, like a burning prop of his office. Like he's just trying to distract himself.
Literally.
I feel like that like present scene as well in the birthday episode was just so, it spoke to Kendall's character so well, like in terms of his origin as a young child, how nothing will ever be good enough. He's never been given what he really, really wants. He's always searching for the next best thing. Like, some, silver spoon, little rich boy that's kind of always, nothing's ever good enough. And he just had a freak out, like so unhinged and manic. And I thought that was, again, writers just killed it there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that episode was so pivotal for Kendall, especially because at the end, his kids were like saying, "Oh, we got you a present," and he goes to his present room and there's hundreds of presents there, and he can't even find his own kid's present, and he just breaks down. And I thought that, this season we finally, even though he is distracting himself and he is masking, all these issues that he has, especially because he, was involved in the whole death of the waiter at Shiv's wedding. He's been bottling all this up, and finally, he starts to break down. And, I think that he is a flawed guy, but he's the only one of the Roys, I reckon, who actually has like a bit of a heart. Like at the birthday, there's like a quote where he says to Roman's like, going ham on the swear words and the insults. And Kendall says something like you're not a real human. And it's just like, yeah, like,
yeah. And then Roman goes back to him. He's like, "You're not a real human." It's like,
yeah,
just Kendall's upset. Like he does say it a lot. Like,
yeah,
where he's like, "You're not real. You're not a good person." Like he says that to Logan at the dinner in the second last episode. But I guess what we were all after came in episode 9, just the catharsis of him just finally breaking down after what many people thought was a suicide attempt. Did you guys,
in the pool.
You guys think?
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was him being a degenerate, to be honest. But
I did kind of, think that he was trying to just end things. He'd given up and he was just over it. But that last episode was insane. And, you saw that and him breaking down and Shiv and Roman actually finally like sort of supporting him.
Yeah.
But can I just say that, and I think we're all thinking this, that scene itself, I think, has earned Jeremy Strong the Emmy for a second time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do we think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
It was such a simple scene, and like it didn't. I think one of the best things about this show is that, like, for me, the characters don't say things that I think they would, but I think they say things that like is very true to their character. And like, when Kendall finally admits it, Shiv gets a phone call, like she doesn't really care, but Roman is like, who hasn't killed a kid? Like that is like, that is such a Roman response.
Yeah,
literally.
Like you could be watching any other show and they'd be like, what? Like you killed a kid?
Literally.
I'm like, we're not siblings anymore. But it's like, who hasn't killed a kid?
Yeah. It's like it was so funny, like seeing like Roman's response as well. Like this is a couple of seasons ago now, but even to kind of tie in with that, when he almost downed an entire spacecraft.
He just watches it and like puts it back in his pocket.
He's like, yeah, a couple of them lost fingers, and he starts like celebrating. Kendall was phenomenal. I think there was an interesting like article about Jeremy Strong and how kind of like committed he is to the role and how he's kind of antisocial. Did you guys sort of see that?
Did see that.
Yeah. Even Brian Cox was like interviewed on there was a late night show or something, and was just like I think he was pretty outspoken about how annoying Jeremy Strong is to kind of work around and imagine that
staying in character.
Give me any form of other method actor to work with, but don't give me some silver spoon, snot-nosed billionaire child, please.
Yeah.
Like, give me Spider-Man, some guy that pretends to climb up a wall or something. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that was really interesting. And, you know, I think regardless, you know, he had a great performance and Kendall had a great ride. So I'm really keen to see where he goes. As iconic as Succession is, this season had a lot of funny scenes and quotes, to say the least.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just put this out there that I think one of the best scenes was Roman sending the dick pic to Jerry.
Yeah.
That was just the reaction
The
on
facial
Roman's
expression.
He's just like,
He sinks
oh
into his seat.
shit. That was so good. What was some good, like, memorable scenes for you guys?
For me,
Or quotes for that matter.
Yeah, memorable scenes, memorable quotes. Really just at the start of Too Much Birthday when they're walking through the little pink tunnel and Roman keeps going in and out. And he's like, you're technically entering my mother's uterus here.
Sick. He's a sick man.
And from there, it's just like, that whole, there's about half an hour in that episode where it's like seriously the best stuff that Succession has ever put together.
Yeah.
Where like Tom and Greg greet each other. They're like, Tom Wom's game's free, man.
Yeah.
Gregory Hirsch not going to prison. And then they're just like walking through the compliment tunnel. So you're so full of joy. He's like, fuck off. It's just relentless from those two.
It's so hard to go, like, you know, kind of step away from, you know, Greg and Tom's, you know, on-screen relationship too. Like, I can easily say that they're my favorite quotes. Like, probably up there would be the cruise ship scene when they're all kind of deciding who would go down for it.
Yeah.
And they're obviously all offering, like, Tom's put himself up to go on the chopping block, and then they're all saying that's probably not enough. So they're saying, what about Tom with some Greg sprinkles? He's like, I'm more than a sprinkle.
What about a few scenes, but starting with Shiv has the serious talk with her mum.
Oh,
and her
yeah.
mum was like, I would have rather had dogs.
And that was brutal.
And then that goes into Shiv coming home to Tom, trying to have sex with him.
Yeah.
Then they get into the dirty talking, and that goes a bit too far. And then the morning after, Tom has a bit of a hangover after what they said. And then she just pulls out the, I may not love you, but I do love you. Like, I think it's about 15 minutes in there where I think Shiv might be the most hated person I've ever watched on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's
sperm.
ruthless.
It's no surprise that the Roys aren't emotionally vulnerable, but Shiv takes it to the next level. She's a cold-hearted wench.
Yep.
She's just crazy to watch. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to be fair, you know, it is just a character at the end of the day, but Sarah Snook, proud Australian,
proud
she
Aussie.
kills it. She won. Did she win the Emmy? Or
Yeah,
she
best
a Golden
supporting.
Globe?
She won the Globe, yeah.
The Globe, and rightfully deserved, I think.
For sure.
I don't like Shiv. I hate her, in fact, but
It's just a sign of her doing a great job.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly right.
For sure. I think a few low-key characters and quotes of the season. I think Connor had, you know, he had some funny moments in there.
Yeah, he's trying to make moves.
He is. And, you know, he's
Connor,
still trying to be
Connor for president. That's my president right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought that a good scene was when I think they're at the wedding still and they're kind of discussing what to do because Logan's going to sell Waystar to Gojo.
Yeah.
And Shiv, Roman and Kendall are just like ignoring him at the table, like not even including him in the discussion. And he just finally stands up and he's like, I'm the eldest son. And he keeps saying it. And I was like, fuck yeah, like go Connor, like
Go.
Finally like standing up for yourself. Like I think he's got some big things coming.
To be fair, if I proposed to someone and they responded with "fuck it," I would probably have a bit of a breakout as well. So,
how bad can it be? Fuck
yeah. So,
fuck
like,
it.
how did that episode? How did that meeting in the hotel go with that potential president they were going to pick? Because, you know, they were trying to like throw around Connor for a bit, and Connor was like, he was nearly about to get the decision from Logan.
Yeah, he was. And then I'm pretty sure Greg says like he steps in after having not said anything.
He
and
says
he's
for
like,
what it's worth.
For what it's worth, I've got to do it for my country. Do not make Connor the next president. Thank you and goodbye. And he just like steps away. Yeah, that was great.
So like that scene with Connor and Shiv where Connor goes up to her and starts asking for like a really good executive role because he's not going to run for president for another 4 years, and Shiv like is really just a toothless tiger in the company and tries to exert a lot of authority, especially over Connor. And Connor kind of brings up like, you know, that time when you were a kid and like you posted the stamps on the letters they came to the house.
Oh yeah,
it's like your job right now is a bit like that.
Like it's absolutely pointless. And I think Logan really
led Shiv astray this season, and Connor just takes advantage of it to the fullest.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
I think Greg as well had some crackers. One of my favorites was like he's talking to Kendall's PR, who he's like, you know, there's a bit of flirting going on, and they're at the party, I think, and he goes, I can't even say it. So maybe one of you guys say it. I think you know it's the scene that I'm talking about.
You're a very fair maiden. How could I ever repay you?
And it's just like Greg. He's just, Greg is great.
Yeah, well, like when he's, like obviously Greg's picked the wrong side from the start. He's picked Kendall's side. Waystar try and give him a lawyer, and like he kind of says, I'll get back to you, but don't take that as like a promise, but I'll get back to you. And then he gets his uncle to get him a lawyer, and he screws his uncle over as well. Yeah. So his uncle then decides to give all of his inheritance to Greg. And so Greg is like, what do I do here? And during that shareholder meeting, Greg puts it to Tom. He's obviously done a lot of thinking. He puts it to Tom and he says, I was wondering, in your view, do you think it's possible to sue a person, a grandparent, for example, in a way which is like an affectionate way that might convey that I love you and I'm glad you're part of my life, but I'm actually taking legal action against you?
Greg continues his one-man attack against.
So he tells Tom, Tom's like, you're going to sue Greenpeace? I like your style, Greg. Who are you going to take down next? Save the children?
That was great.
Greg continues to protect, one of Mother Nature's greatest protectors. I have some beef with Greenpeace. Long story, but they're bad.
Oh, man. What about at the shareholder meeting as well? Frank obviously has to stall for like hours, and he's just like, so then we'll have some further ado. It's like little things like that make Succession great.
And it's so realistic as well, don't you think? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
In terms of just capturing like corporate America so well, just like the perfect microcosm for like American capitalism, commercialism.
Yeah, huge parody and satire for it.
Yeah.
I think as well, the finale was obviously huge, and of course Logan's character is iconic for a lot of fuck offs, and I think we got the most ultimate fuck off when he's said that the kids have no control because of the divorce agreement. And he just says to the three of them, he's like, oh, go on, just fuck off. And he calls them like, you noisy
fucking pedestrians.
Yeah, and he fucks them up.
That's it. And then that amazing soundtrack kicks in like, fuck off, and then they have to leave. And then the Tom father comes through.
Yeah, the little pat on the back. So, of course, we've shared a few thoughts on the season. We've actually also got a mailbag here from a Succession expert, or so he says, Costy. He's kindly sent in a mailbag, so let's hear what he's got to say.
Okay, hey guys, Tom here, sharing my favourite moments in just a recap of Succession Season 3. I love how Season 3 started, honestly, 10 seconds right after Kendall Roy's press conference at the end of Season 2. I love it when movie sequels or another season in a TV show picks up right where the last season finished. So you just get thrust straight back into the action. Another one of my favourite scenes, it happened when they were all meeting. I forget where it was, but they were all meeting to figure out the next president. And Kendall met with Tom at a diner. And they were speaking, and Kendall basically said to Tom, they're not going to put up with you anymore. You don't mean anything to them. And Tom basically looked at Kendall and said, I'm always going to stick with Logan because Logan never loses and you always lose, Kendall. And I just thought that scene by Tom and the actor who plays him, Matthew McFadden, and Matthew McFadden was just so unreal this season. I thought that was one of the best scenes of the whole season. And then I've spoken about this with Spencer as well, but honestly, one of the funniest scenes I think I've ever seen in TV and movies is, and I couldn't help myself and I couldn't stop laughing in my room, was the dick pic scene between Roman and Logan. I honestly was laughing so hard that I remember my brother texted me and said, are you okay? Are you having a fit? And I just couldn't control myself. It was the best. The ending of the season was fantastic, where Tom double-crossed Shiv, Kendall and Roman and took Logan's side, was just amazing. But my predictions for season 4, I'm predicting that Tom does get cast aside by Logan and Logan is just playing him along. And the united front that we've seen by Kendall, Shiv and Roman, I don't think it lasts long whatsoever. I think it lasts about 2.5 episodes tops. And I think one of them goes back in size with Logan. But yeah, Succession, what a show. Thanks.
Yeah, wow. Some great takes there, Costy. Awesome. Could not agree more. I think that you really hit the nail on the head about Tom and about the amazing diner scene. And I think that season 4 will really, really be a big one. And I'd be interested to see how that dynamic of the 3 children, Roman, Kendall and Shiv, plays out. So guys, I guess that's a bit of a segue. What do we think is going to happen in season 4?
So I would liken myself to that of a flat earther when it comes to Succession conspiracies. I've come up with a couple through my sleepless nights searching the dark corners of Reddit. And what I've come to find is there's 2 that I think are really, really icy. So first and foremost, I won't these aren't, ridiculous takes once I say them either. So don't be on the too edge of your seat. But I certainly think that season 4 will see Kendall go down for the death of the waiter.
Ooh, interesting.
There's been a lot of poking around there. It's very foreshadowing, or there's something going to happen there. Like, that can't be over, right?
I think that he has, broken down about it, but it has been swept under the rug, and Logan will always have that as leverage. Yeah, absolutely.
Which I personally don't think he's going to use it, because I think if he was going to, he would have already done so. Last season.
Agreed.
I think he's torn Kendall down to his absolute single atom. There's nothing left of him.
No.
I do like Koski's take of the siblings really only being together for 1 or 2 episodes, and then, who could you pick to jump ship again? Probably Shiv, right? But then Logan is not going to trust these guys.
Nah, never again. And maybe that's when they finally realize, they've got to change. But then again, we haven't seen much of that. And I think as well, just to go back, I think that, Kendall Kendall exposed Logan and Waystar at the end of season 2. Logan could have definitely used that leverage. So I think that it will be interesting to see who jumps ship and where they go.
Do we think that Greg and Tom are really not going to jail? Do we really think they're safe? Because they have a little toast after the shareholder meeting. They just have a little toast, and Jerry specifically is like, no promises, long road ahead.
True,
they're not completely safe. And just because Tom's shown his loyalty doesn't mean Logan's going to show it back. And I think
true.
Logan will be first to throw Tom under the bus before he throws his kids.
yeah, Logan, you couldn't trust him as far as you could throw him. You know, never count anything out there. I think Logan's ability to literally just stab someone in the back and, you know, not give a flying about them is nothing to kind of, you know, leave out of the conversation.
Flying,
Yeah.
not give a flying.
A flying fuck off.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a take and a half here.
Here we go.
I literally just thought of this right here in the Cinemaze studio.
Oh, shit. Exclusive Cinemates right here.
A cine take.
A Cinetake, if you will. Wow.
You heard it here first.
We'll trademark that. Cinetake, ready? Marsha, she kind of fell off the wagon and wasn't really that involved this season.
Yeah, and her son as well.
However,
slimy sleazeball.
However, she did get some new like terms of their.
Oh yeah, she did.
So maybe
Okay.
she hates Logan, sides with the kids, uses the power, and they become a 4 and attack Logan next season.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
Okay.
Wow.
Can I speak to this? Because this is where my second conspiracy theory comes in.
Okay. Here we go.
And thank God you guys asked as well so I can vent. Okay. So, are you familiar with a character called Rex Hendon?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Who's Rex Hendon?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked, Michael. So Rex Hendon is the family's lawyer. So, you know, you can be seen.
Oh.
You can be seen as early as season 3. Tom answers a call and he says, "Hi, I'd like to schedule an appointment with Rex Hendon." And I was thinking, okay, wait, what could that possibly be about? Could it be about his jail time? Could it be about, you know, a potential divorce between him and Shiv? What is going on? So there's a lot to be spoken for there. I think that Rex Hendon's going to have a bit to do with the storyline.
Yes.
I think that obviously we saw him settle Logan and Caroline's divorce settlement as well towards the end of the season, where he rewrote so that Caroline could leverage her divorce papers and get more money for her weird husband.
Tosser of a husband.
Tosser of a husband, yeah. Absolute cuckold he is. So yeah, I think that, you know, the family's legal top dog could definitely get a bit more airtime coming into season 4 as well.
For sure. And may I add, I think Lucas Matson, who is the founder and CEO of Gojo, played by Alexander Skarsgård, who was a great character. I think he might still have some big things to do next
Role
season.
play.
Yeah, they're acquiring Waystar, right?
Yeah.
So, you know,
Well, yeah, like he did sell Roman a merger of equals idea. Well, at least he implied that, and Roman just kind of took it what he will. But Roman got sent off the private meeting from Matt.
he did.
And it was just Logan. And like, this is one of the first seasons where we don't really know what's going on in Logan's head.
Yeah.
We're on the kids' side here. And like, hopefully next season we really see what Logan said to Mattson that day.
Absolutely. And I think that kind of you attack other people, you're a killer, whereas Matson is like more of this like kind of young millennial.
He's a snake.
He's a snake, but he's also kind of, you know, a bit like Elon Musk, like very outspoken on Twitter. Like he'll just do things, and maybe Logan won't be prepared for that. So will be a very interesting dynamic between those two, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something which probably won't happen, but I thought was really interesting. I'd love to get a few kind of cutscenes, flashbacks, and kind of get some context to the title sequence. It's kind of like it's just kind of like lining up for a picture, and then at the end, like the dad gets called off for a phone call. Like I was like, is this gonna tie into any of like the Uncle Mo stuff?
Maybe.
Like that. Like I thought that'd be really cool if they fleshed that out. But it is a title sequence; they don't need to flesh it out.
Well, like I think that it's got a bit to do with like Connor's mother as well. Like, do you guys remember what happened there as well? Like, you remember Connor touching on it, like, you know, I didn't see Pop for 3 years, but your spoon wasn't shiny enough, kind of thing. Like, you know, obviously there's still a bit going on there. Like, when Connor's mother, obviously this is a bit off-piste as well, but I mean, like when Connor's mother exited the picture, obviously Logan began to grow another family as well. So I think that we could see Connor's mother come into the equation as well and add a few more, bit of a dynamic there as well, particularly in Connor's messed up wedding. Could be another red wedding in HBO.
For sure. There's a lot of weddings, isn't there? May I just add as well, there's a bit of sexual tension between Tom and Greg.
The elephant in the room.
Maybe something happens in season 4.
Would you kiss me, Greg?
I mean, Nero and Sporus. Yeah, maybe it'll happen.
Only half of that has happened so far. He hasn't really. He's given him a ring, but he hasn't made him dress up like his dead wife.
Or castrate him, for that matter. But yeah, season 4 will be huge. Let us know what you think is going to happen. Thank you again for the mailbag, Costy, and great takes there, boys. And that is a wrap for the Succession season 3 episode. Thank you so much for listening into this episode of Cinemates, a podcast where a bunch of mates chat about cinema over some drinks. Huge thank you to Pat and Spencer for coming on the show once again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
As always, let us know what you want to hear about in future episodes. And if you want to send in a mailbag or do an elevator pitch to me, send us a DM on Instagram @cinemaze_. Otherwise, we'll catch you for the next episode.